Okay, first of all, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes. Ah, perfect. Okay. Yeah, well, there you go, Lalo. It's hot, be careful. Well, welcome, and for all those who are new to Ajijic, hope you learned something. And for those who have been here for quite a while, hope you learned something new. So parades and festivals and special days celebrating the ritual of land, our histories, and the connection with the spirits of our ancestors, they all connect us with the past. They link us to the experience of past generations and the way they considered life. No one knows the importance more than Eduardo Ramos Cordero, known affectionately in the village as Lalo. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone. Lalo realized the importance of preserving the stories, so he's collected a mountain of stories. They need to be preserved somehow, but he has a knowledge, unbelievable knowledge of the history of Ajijic. I've known Lalo for about 10 years now, both as a very good friend and as my neighbor, and I've enjoyed lots of festivals with him, and I've gained an incredible insight into their significance. And he has done so much for Ajijic. And I can assure you that the Ajijic that you experience would not be the same without Lalo. Ajijic no sería Ajijic sin Lalo. Now I'm going to invite him to say a few words now, and he will be here to answer audience questions after the talk, and one-on-one questions after the presentation. Now, his English is pretty limited to hello, nice to see you, I love you. So, Lalo, what would you like to say?
Hello, nice to see you, I love you.
Actually, he knows a little bit more than that. So, anyway, do you want to, in español?
Buenos días a todos. Es un honor estar aquí y espero ser útil con mis investigaciones y mis palabras sencillas, porque no sé hablar mucho.
So, now, I wrote this in Spanish for him to say, so I wouldn't have to translate. So, but it's saying, you know, it's glad to be here, it's an honor, and I hope that his studies of Ajijic helps you to understand better Ajijic.
Soy nativo de aquí, nací en 1953 y siempre me dediqué desde niño con los ancianos de mi pueblo a investigar las costumbres y la posible historia de nuestro pueblo.
So he was born in Ajijic in 1953 and has always dedicated his life to the customs of the people of Ajijic.
Y espero que disfruten escuchando lo poco que yo sé.
So it helps you enjoy the stories that we have to tell today.
No pretendo saberlo todo porque no soy un historiador, solamente soy un cronista.
So he's not an expert, he's not a historian, but he's a cronista, and he preserves the local tales. Okay. So, as I say, Lalo habla un poco más de inglés que eso. Well, Lalo speaks a little more English than that. But solo queríamos decirte, Lalo, que bienvenido, welcome. And we just want to say, gracias por venir. Thank you for coming.
Es un placer.
Te queremos mucho.
Muchas gracias.
We love you too. Okay, let's buckle in because we're going through a year. A year in the... can you hold it? Gracias. We're going to start off in January, New Year's Eve. Okay, so the villagers, they all have street parties. So they congregate late on New Year's Eve, they'll light a bonfire, and they'll They'll start drinking, but in moderation, of course. And you will be given, well, in our street party, you're given a little bracelet with a bell on it, and you write a wish. Whatever you want to wish for that year, you tie it around your wrist. You're also given seeds, usually lentils, and little toy bills of 500 pesos, 1,000 pesos. These are to signify abundance. And then you wait for the bells. Now, as you can hear the church bells, every time you hear a bell, you eat a grape. And when the 12th bell comes, you throw the seeds and the bells into the air, and you all scream and hug one another with the phrase, Feliz Año, not Happy New Year, solo, Feliz Año. And then the fireworks go off. Our beloved cohetes. They all go off, and if you want anything to happen that year, now's a good chance to do it. We have a young lady in our block who loves to, she wants to travel. So she has an empty suitcase, and she runs around the block with her empty suitcase in the hope that this year she's going to travel. I think she made it to Hocotepec last year. She lives in Hope. But, and then the party goes on till about 4 in the morning. And the drinking, you know, and my Spanish gets really good round about 1 or 2 and gets incomprehensible round about 3 or 4. After that, on New Year's Day, there's the New Year's Day parade. Have you seen the New Year's Day parade? It's rather new, for about 20 odd years, and it's complete whimsy. There's no real theme except everyone's having a good time. You know the characters in the Loteria, El Borracho, El Soldado, etc. There was a group that dressed completely in those characters. And it's just fun. It's nothing more than fun. There's also a football match held at Tecolote. You know where Tecolote is? Tecolote is the barrio west of Six Corners. And on the lake side of Six Corners there's a football field. And there is a traditional New Year's Day football match. Now, to say that the players are still drunk is an understatement, and usually they come in fancy dress. One year they came as dressed as chickens on the feathers field. But it's a fun time. And okay, so we'll move on a few days. January 6th, Three Kings Day. Now, traditionally, this was the day when the 3 wise men arrived at the stable where Jesus had been born to give gifts to the baby Jesus. So, but here it's better known as the Rosca de Reyes. Rosca de Reyes. Anyone tried Rosca de Reyes? Yeah, it's a round, about this size. It's a sweet bread with a hole in the middle, and it's adorned with dried fruit. Now, the significance of this bread is it has little plastic figurines of baby Jesus, El Niño de Dios, maybe about 4 or 5 inside. Now, you're given a knife and you have to take a slice. Now, if you're one of the lucky ones, that when you're chewing this, you find a little baby Jesus, you're on the hook for buying tamales on January the 6th, 12th? 2nd. Yeah, on January the 2nd. So you're on the hook for buying tamales for the entire family on January 2nd. So
This happens on the 6th.
the first time I did it, I found one.
You got your dates wrong.
I'm sure I have.
January 6th, bread,
We're going
and
backwards.
it's a couple weeks later that you
February
buy the
2nd.
February 2nd.
January the 6th is Three Kings Day,
Right,
right?
and then February 2nd
February 2nd,
is when you buy the tamales.
is that not what I said?
January.
Did I? Forgive me.
Not that we want to correct you.
No. Feel free. Feel free. January 2nd is the Rosca de Reyes. That's where you eat the rosca. That's where you roll the dice, see where you get the Niño Dios. The first time I did it, I found one and I said, "Oh look, I win!" The family going. So the next year, I sort of poked at the cake, see whether I find anything hard. You shouldn't do that. Nor should you let out a little scream in case you... No. So, So if you went, you buy the tamales on Dia de Candelaria on February 2nd. I've got a lot of dates in front of me here. I'm lost. Then we also on January 6th. It's the day of San Gaspar. Now, San Gaspar was one of the 3 wise men, and it's also one of the 5 barrios. It's one of the 5 neighborhoods. We are in San Gaspar. San Gaspar runs from Colón to Revolución, that's the street where the Tianguis is, up to Guadalupe Victoria, the south side of Guadalupe Victoria, down to the lake. So we live in San Gaspar. And every barrio, well, most barrios, have a feast day. And so it's only been, this has only been resurrected for the last 3 years. And it's all done by the neighborhood. We go door to door collecting funds for food and drink. We have a nighttime party. It's held in Constitución between Encarnación Rosas and Aldama. Music, drink, food, all free. Everyone's invited. And there's a little parade during the day. And we have to borrow the statue of San Gaspar from the nativity scene in the plaza, because after all, he's our saint. So you're all welcome to join in the festivities of San Gaspar. On January 20th, there's San Sebastian Day, which is another barrio. This is the oldest festival in Ajijic. San Sebastian is the barrio from the north side of Guadalupe Victoria, north to the hills, Colón to the west, and again, Revolución to the east. This is the area behind Pemex. This is the oldest barrio, or the oldest, no, I'm saying the oldest barrio, but it's the oldest celebration. And it used to be the first appearance of the Sayacas. You all know the Sayacas? No. I'll tell you about the Sayacas later. But they now appear, if you've ever been to a parade where you get covered in flour, yes. So I'll tell you about those later. But now I think they head out every parade, including New Year's Day. But the San Sebastian neighborhood is a very, very close-knit neighborhood. They have a very, very, involved parade. You know, the Aztecas dances, it's full-blown parade. And it goes on all night. And they have the most rockets of all the, you'll be glad to know. But you're all very welcome to attend. There's dancing, it's a wonderful neighborhood celebration.
What's the date of the San Sebastian?
It's January 20th. January 20th. Now, on February the 2nd, which is 40 days after Christmas, I believe, this is one of the oldest celebrations of Christianity. We know it as Candlemas, and it's got various names in the Christian church. There it's called Dia de la Candelaria. And for 40 days has a significance in Christian, in the religion. 40 days of Lent. Didn't Jesus
fast for 40 days?
Yeah, 40 days after the birth of a child, the woman, the mother, shouldn't do anything for 40 days in Mexico. No housekeeping, no cooking, no washing the clothes, no sex. So the neighbors and family come around to do all that for them, not the sex. But they come around and they help out. I'm not sure why, whether they consider her vulnerable or whatever, but she basically they're not allowed to do anything. So I've heard this time is the purification of Mary. It's the presentation of Jesus for the first time to the temple. But whatever, it's 40 days, it's February 2nd, it's Dia de la Candelaria. There are locals gather at the San Andres Church, which is a big church here in Ajijic, with candles wrapped in lace. But remember those lucky ones that found the baby Jesus in the rosca? Now, those who have already ordered their tamales are in luck, because the demand is so high that if you didn't, you're going to have a hard time finding them. There are shops that just devote themselves that day, they convert themselves that day into just selling tamales. So you go and you pick up your tamales, hopefully they're there and ready, and you bring them back to the family and you all have a good feast. That's the importance of tamales, along with a beverage called atole. Atole is a corn-based beverage. They're both made from corn, and this comes from the importance of maize to the indigenous pre-Hispanic populations. In fact, in a surprising coincidence, even the date of February 2nd coincided with the celebrations in the Aztec calendar to ask the gods for rain of a bountiful harvest. So, just a coincidence? Who knows? Now comes my favorite. I'll talk about the sayacas a little too. February 17th, Carnival. Now some of these dates may vary because it's due to the Christian calendar. And that's going to be my excuse in case I get any of these dates wrong. But not all these dates are fixed. But February 17th, Carnival. Now this is a no-holds-barred parade of mayhem and occasional debauchery. This is the let loose phase before Lent and its 40 austere days. So anything goes, and sometimes it really does. Now it all starts with the sayacas who lead the parade tossing flour. Now why do they toss flour? Well, the sayacas are unique to Ajijic. They were originally, they date back to pre-Hispanic. They were twins that were born in a place called Canacinta, a settlement just west of here. They were born to a shaman, and they had a problem with, they were a little simple. They dribbled a lot, and they got the name Shakatl, which means mouth or mass that ran water. So that's how they got the name Sayaca. But everyone loved them. They were so sweet and so happy all the time that the villagers just adored them. They used to toast ground corn and chop up marigold petals and fill turkey eggs with them and throw them at the people. And they just adored them. They used to lead all the parades, tossing these eggs and tossing from bags these marigold petals and ground corn. And it just became a tradition that they would lead the parades with this. They were so important that when the Spanish arrived, they were chosen to greet the Spanish. So they held that much importance. And slowly over time it just evolved into the sayacas that we see today. And instead of the ground corn and the petals, we have the flour. So you will see them in front of now every parade. And if you go and see any parade, do not wear anything that you value, any of your favorite clothes, because you will get covered. Right? Yes? Yes. And it takes forever to get out. But it's so much fun. It is so much fun. They chase young lads down the street who don't want to get caught. They toss them from bags. They shoot them now from air cannons. Yeah, the people on the roof used to be, shouting down, thinking they were immune from the reach of the sayacas. Now they've developed air cannons, which can reach the roof, so everybody gets covered. And there's also, I've seen El Colchón de Terror or Horror. Have you seen that? It's a float, it's a truck, and it's got a mattress on it. And they cut the mattress and they fill it full of flour. And the young men in the lucha libre masks, they look for victims, which are invariably young women, young girls. They pick them up and they put them on the mattress, and they just pound them with flour until you can't see them anymore. And then they gently let them off the mask. And a good time was had by all. So Carnival, great time. And that leads into Quaresma. So it's 40 days of austerity, which includes the most important day of the year, and I know this date's right, March 4th. Okay, anybody know what March 4th is?
Star Wars Day.
That's May.
Something, March 4th?
May the 4th.
Oh, it's my birthday. And you all missed it. Now you've been warned. But there is an important birthday in March, and it's the third Monday in March. It's Benito Juárez's birthday. Now, Benito is the most beloved Mexican president, like Lincoln is to the US, or Churchill is to the UK, or Justin Trudeau is to Canada. Did I get that right? Well, we're moving on. Where are we? How are we doing? March 28th, or thereabouts. No, March 29th, I'm sorry. Domingo de Ramos. And we're moving into Holy Week. Now, Holy Week has been really orchestrated by Lalo here. March 29th is the Domingo de Ramos, or Palm Sunday. And I don't know whether you've seen this, but there's a street procession that reenacts Christ's triumphant entry into Jerusalem. And from Hidalgo, from Six Corners, all the way to the temple, it's covered in alfalfa. So the street is completely green, all the way. And it's simulating the palms, that signifies the palms that Jesus walked in on a donkey. And Jesus arrives on a donkey, children dressed in the attire of the time greet him at the plaza. Later that night, there is a kermesse. Now, kermesse is a traditional fundraiser, and this is to raise funds for the Pasión de Cristo, the Easter Passion Play, of which the Palm Sunday is a part. All these celebrations, just about all of them, are funded by the village. They don't receive any government help. There's very few sponsors, if any. It's just people getting together, deciding to do something and doing it. It's incredible. But the traditional kermesse that night is called La Verbena Jamaica del Pasado. It's held in the plaza, and it's traditional food, cooked in the traditional way, and to make it more evocative, the electric lights are turned off around about 9:30, and the whole plaza is illuminated by candles and luminaries. And it's quite a spectacular sight. It's a step back in time, and it's all designed to evoke early 20th century Mexico. So you can enjoy all the old-fashioned games, the confetti-filled papaki. Uh-oh, seems like we lost our recording. So anyway, I will continue the presentation. I'll use some images to illustrate the rest of the calendar. So here we are back in the plaza, someone's holding a buñuelo. It's a sweet fried Mexican fritter, delicious. But the kermesse is really an old-fashioned fundraiser, and it's for the Pasión de Cristo, the Easter Passion Play. Now here is the committee that runs the Passion Play, and they're just regular folks from the village. You can see Lalo in the front in his long-sleeve teal shirt. The rest are just your gardeners, your cleaners, your shopkeepers, just regular folk who put an inordinate amount of time in to help out in something really significant in their lives. A few hundred villagers are involved in this, making the costumes, making the scenery, painting, incredible effort. A lot of hard work and dedication goes into this. It was enacted throughout the village from the Malakon to Tempisque in the hills, back down to the plaza, to the atrio in the temple, and back up to the hills. And it is a very, very moving experience. Moving on to May 3rd. May 3rd is the Dia de la Cruz, and this is to celebrate and honor the albañiles, the construction workers. So you may see them erecting colorful crosses on top of any buildings that they're working on. And the owners of the buildings, it is their job to that day provide them with a lovely meal and lots of beer. And it is a sort of day off. It's a celebration for the workers. And they always bring lots of rockets to the occasion. So all day long you'll hear rockets and raucous celebrations going on May the 3rd. I know this is a Mexican calendar of things that happen on various days, but I thought I'd show you something that doesn't happen on a specific day, and that's Cinco de Mayo. May 5th, nothing really happens in Mexico outside the city of Puebla. And if you're familiar from the US, you'll probably know that Cinco de Mayo is the big US Mexican holiday. Here they are celebrating in Los Angeles, and here they are celebrating in Ajijic. One holiday is celebrated equally enthusiastically, both sides of the border, Mother's Day. And you can hire a mariachi band to serenade your mother outside her bedroom window. Now, unfortunately, there are a limited number of mariachis and there are a lot of mothers. So if you want to get a mariachi box, you may have to hire them to play outside your mother's window at around about 3:30 in the morning. So there's a long list of mothers to be serenaded. The first year I was here, I was awoken at about 3 o'clock in the morning with a mariachi band singing to my neighbor's mother, and it was wonderful. We got up, listened to them. They played 3 tunes. I went back to bed. It was wonderful. Another wonderful celebration of mothers every Mother's Day is the celebration in the Lienzo Charo, the bull ring on Revolucion, where mothers challenge some young bull in the arena. You can see them with their tablecloths and their shower curtains. There are small packets of gifts either tied to the horns of the bull or around their feet, and they wave their tablecloths in front of a rather confused bull, and they try and remove the packets from the horns. You also get a free tequila on the way in, which is always an indication that it's going to be a good event. The holiday that seems to share the same amount of enthusiasm north of the border and south, Father's Day. And now we move into July, and in July, the rains start. And then we move into August, and it's still raining, but as you can see, it's slowed down a bit. Now in September, the beginning of September, we have the Regata de Globos, one of the most spectacular events in Ajijic. And before this can happen, there has to be built many, many hot air balloons. And teams will work for weeks, even months before, to build these wonderful balloons. There are usually about a dozen teams, and each one will build anywhere between 15 and 30 hot air balloons, and these are not simple tasks. They will work in garages, and actually the team Naranja Mechanic, the Clockwork Orange, they use the cultural center at the front to build their balloons, so you can go in and see them building their balloons, and they're quite happy to chat with you and explain the process. They're quite elaborate, and all they have, is a pair of scissors, some glue, some scotch tape. It's amazing that how they get them done. And usually there's a team of about 10 there, 2 or 3 at work, and the rest are drinking beer. But it all gets done, and they just hope and pray there isn't too much wind and too much rain on the day. And the thing usually starts around 3 in the afternoon and goes on until nighttime. And you can wander around the field. It's usually in order to help the the bomberos, the fire department. It's a wonderful time. The place is absolutely crowded all day long. So don't miss that. Just again, a people-driven event. Everyone helps out, and it's wonderful. September 15th is one of the most important days in the Mexican calendar. It heralds the Mexican Independence Day on September 15th. They have this reenactment of the El Grito, the shout made by Father Hidalgo, which started the Mexican War of Independence. This is reenacted in the plaza in the evening of September 15th. The whole village, most of the village turns out into the plaza. During the days, lots of games for the kids. During the evening, there's lots of drinking, and they sing the national anthem, followed by the shout where the heroes of the Mexican War are honored. The next day is the 16th, the actual Independence Day, and there are parades. All the schools send their students out in a parade of national civic pride. The local calendar, and we have another Barrio Saints Festival, and this time it's San Miguel. The barrio of San Miguel lies to the northwest of Ajijic. So behind the Sky Gym, if you follow the road Tempisque, it'll take you to the foothills. There is a cave in the hills, and in there is the statue of San Miguel. And on September the 29th, they take the statue out, and they have a parade that comes down the hills, down to Six Corners, Seis Esquinas, and then along to the plaza, and back up to Tempisque, where they have a very large celebration at the foot of the hills there, and there's lots of celebration, drinking, lots of rockets, of course, and the celebrations go into the morning. Now we move into the end of October, beginning of November, and this is a time when the distance between our world and the spirit world is the thinnest, and it's believed that our ancestors can cross this line during this time and come and visit us, and that is the belief behind Dia de los Muertos. We even have a special day for our pets. October 27th is the Dia de los Mascotas Fallecidas, and we can build altars celebrating our lost pets. Probably one of the most touching and poignant days in the celebrations is November 1st, el Dia de los Angelitos. It's for families who have lost children, and the families go to the cemetery, and you'll see the tombs with fresh gifts, fresh toys, and candies that they place on the gravesite, and they sing their favorite songs. It's a very, very touching experience. The second is the official Day of the Dead. Families have spent days before preparing the altar, photographs of their deceased loved ones, with things that mean something to them, along with their favorite foods, favorite drink, favorite beer, favorite tequila, their favorite cigarettes. Usually they have soap and a towel so that they can refreshen themselves after their long journey. They'll also have salt there, and they have all their anything that is of any significance they put on the altar, and it helps to be able to spend time with the spirits of their deceased ones. And in the middle of this is October 31st, Halloween, which isn't a traditional Mexican holiday, although the Day of the Dead and the Halloween do share the same root. But, the Mexican kids have learned that they can approach gringos or knock on gringo houses and say, queremos Halloween, we love Halloween, and they can get free candy. So it's very hard to break this one tradition. So if you live in La Floresta especially, they will go door to door looking for the gringos, and it's going to be a hard tradition to break. Some Mexicans feel it's diluting the Day of the Dead tradition, but I think it's going to be a hard one to stop. At the end of November, we have the Fiestas Patronales. Every village has their patron saint, and Ajijic is San Andres, St. Andrew. So there are 9 days of celebrations. Each day is sponsored by a gremio, which translates into a guild, but it's more like just a group of workers. So we'll have the gardeners, the musicians, the construction workers. They all sponsor, they save up during the year and they sponsor the musical bands and the castillos, which you can see in the picture here. The towers of fireworks, some are very elaborate, and every day there's a new tower built. Every day there's a new band. There's food stalls, there's ride for the kids, and of course there's lots of rockets, lots of tequila, lots of drinking, and a lot of gringos get out of town for this, but the Mexicans love it. December 12th is the Dia de la Virgen de Guadalupe, one of the many days that they honor the manifestation of the Virgen. In this case, they're just like all the others. There is a procession where they carry an effigy, a statue of the Virgin, through the streets and end up in the big church. We are now truly moving into the holiday season, and one of the traditions is the posadas, and you're characterized by children dressed as Mary and Joseph. So there's an angel, and they knock on someone's house. It's been prearranged. Don't worry, they're not going to knock spontaneously on your front door. Where there is a call and response song reenacting the Joseph and Mary asking for a room at the inn, and after they sing this call and response, they're invited in for food and drink. And here's an interesting mid-December ritual called the Pastorela. And this is occasionally performed in the cultural center just off the plaza in Ajijic. And it is really a story about shepherds and their journey to see following the star and going to see baby Jesus in the manger. And they are met on the way by the devil, who tries his best to tempt them away from the journey. But of course, good wins in the end. Now it's become this rather topical comedy where they make fun of modern political figures. It is very contemporary, and there's lots of political jokes and political humor, lots of fart jokes too. In Mexican houses, you will find a nativity scene known as the nacimiento, and it sort of grows year after year, and it's some are very elaborate. They have lighting, some have running water, and it's added to every year. And some of the figures that are added, they don't quite fit the scene. Some of the kids may add their toy soldiers to it, but it's always very, very interesting. And the manger remains empty. Baby Jesus is only added to the scene at midnight on Christmas Eve. December 28th. Many Mexicans, December 28th might seem like a fun day. It's traditional to play jokes or pranks on friends and family. But the origin of this day, known in Mexico as Dia de los Inocentes, Feast of the Holy Innocents, is far from fun. In fact, the religious holiday has its origins in a tragedy. The Holy Innocents were the babies murdered by King Herod in Bethlehem when Herod heard that a future king of the Jews had been born. However, it has an April Fool's Day feel to it. Newspapers print false headlines. The newspaper La Jornada Maya published an article about AMLO supposedly moving his administration to Cancun in order to better supervise the construction of his signature project, the Mayan Train. Oh, what better way to celebrate it than with a whoopee cushion, eh? Well, there you have it. The year is complete. My apologies about the problems we had the recording, but at least you got to listen to half the year and see the remainder. Hope you enjoyed it.